In today's episode of Old Guy Rock Show, we're going to take a look at the top 10 songs of day 4 of Bonnaroo 2022. Welcome everyone to Old Guy Rock Show episode 5. We are almost done with our coverage of the top 10 songs from each day at Bonnaroo 2022. This is going to wrap us up with day 4, Sunday, the 19th, I believe, of the festival. So this is going to be the final cap on everything that we've been doing for the last couple episodes. This was a very weird list to go through because there is artists from all over the map on this. There's rock, there's classic rock artists that I would say is the best way to categorize them. Just classic artists in general. And just music from all across the map. So this should be a really fun episode. It will be bittersweet to see some of these artists because that will be the cap on Bonnaroo. And if anyone knows me watching this video, they know that I am super into this festival. This is supposed to be the 11th year, technically, that I was going to the festival since we started going in 2012, or at least I did. But with the pandemic and reschedules and hurricanes and all that stuff, I believe this is year 8 for me, 8 or 9. But at any rate, it's going to be a good one. All things considered, hopefully the weather systems in the Gulf stay out of our way. I do not want another hurricane ending my plans to go to this festival. So fingers crossed, we should be good. But we put together this list exactly as we did the previous 3 lists, excuse me, where we went through each artist that's playing on Sunday at Bonnaroo. We went to Apple Music, went and pulled their top 3 songs that were not features, so it has to be their song, like their releases. They cannot be the featured singer or artist on another artist's tune. But at any rate, went through and kind of got that group of 3 down to their best song or the artist's best song, and just got our list down to 10 from there. So very excited to go through this list. A little bittersweet once again because this is going to cap our coverage on the top songs. I would like to put a top 10 list of all the days put together, kind of take our top 40 essentially and get that down to 10. So time permitting, we may do that. But at any rate, before we get into the first song, let's go through the artists that are playing so you can see where we pulled these lists and songs from. So without further ado, let's take a look. Okay, starting from the top, we have Stevie Nicks, Machine Gun Kelly, Roddy Ricch, Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, Rez, Herbie Hancock, Pucifer, Wallows, Tosh Sultana, Coin, G. Jones, Zach Bryan, All Them Witches, Tinashe, Fletcher, Tierra Whack, Lettuce, Dombresky, Boz, Protege, Of the Trees, Sierra Farrell, Ravenscoon, Wild Rivers, Flip Turn, 100 Drums, Karuk, Hoko, Robin Odalini, Salika, Steven Sanchez, and Wax Owls. So when I said that this was a really dynamic day, I was not kidding. You go from Stevie Nicks to Machine Gun Kelly, and we haven't even gotten to the third artist yet. That's already all over the map. But I was very surprised at who made this list. A couple artists, I guess I say this in every video, but a couple artists that I expected to be on this list were not, and some that I thought might not make the list did last minute. I also ran into the same problem that I did in the previous video, where if I could put multiple songs from one artist on this list, I would have, because some of these artists are a couple of my favorite artists, actually. A couple I've seen at Bonnaroo, and I probably could have put their whole catalog had I been given the opportunity to put that in the list. So very exciting. It was really tough to get this down to the 10 tracks. But that being said, let's take a look and see if you agree or disagree with my choices, starting with the first one. Okay, for our first song, this would be of no surprise if you knew me personally. I chose Edge of 17 by Stevie Nicks. Arguably, I've not been a huge Stevie Nicks fan my whole life. I've honestly never really dug her voice. Granted, I do love Fleetwood Mac. And I do love this song specifically. If I had a top 25 favorite songs of all time, this would probably be on that list. I actually don't remember where I was when I heard this the first time. I was obviously very, very young because this song predates me. But love this song, love the intro, the guitar in the beginning. I don't know, just a really cool tone on the guitar, and I think it lends itself very, very well to Stevie's voice. I actually almost wanted to pick Stop Dragging My Heart Around. Mainly didn't put it on this list because I think I like that song more because Tom Petty is the other artist on there. It is a Stevie Nicks song, but it's very much in the styling of Tom Petty since he was the co-writer on that. But once again, I didn't want to have features, and that was kind of tone that line where it might be a little bit more of a Tom Petty song than a Stevie Nicks song. So of course I went with arguably her most famous song, Edge of 17. Now this is this is gonna be a really fun song, I hope, live.
She put on the best show I've ever seen, and she is so much better live than she is on the album. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh my gosh, no comparison.
I've never seen Stevie Nicks live. Granted, she's not a spring chicken. I realize that she's been around the block for a while. I'm just glad that I finally get to see her, all things considered. Hopefully everything works out. But I'm glad I get to see her at this festival. I think that she will be a perfect headliner. Honestly, speaking of Tom Petty, seeing him as a headliner, my third year at Bonnaroo, I think it was 2013, 14, somewhere in there. You just forget how many songs these people write and how many songs of theirs you know. And I have a feeling that's going to be a Stevie Nicks moment, or I guess a Tom Petty moment, when I watch Stevie Nicks at Bonnaroo, is that I forget that she has had her hand in a lot of classic rock for her own music and, of course, with Fleetwood Mac. So very, very excited to see her. Didn't want to be, super, super old when we saw her. I didn't want to be in like my 50s or 60s and seeing her kind of like hobble out to the stage to perform. So I'm glad to see her playing the festival this year and really excited to see what is in store. So for song number 1, we are looking at Edge of 17 by the one and only Stevie Nicks. For our next song on the list, we are looking at Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweat song, You Worry Me. Now, this is another artist that I think that his style of music is in the same vein as a lot of other music that has sadly passed its prime. He came at the very tail end of the kind of Americana, kind of folk indie scene. I think of artists like Lumineers, Mumford & Sons. There's a million more out there. Of Monsters and Men, things like that. Of Monsters and Men? I always confuse them with Of Mice and Men. Of Monsters and Men, not the metalcore band. But Nathaniel Rateliff, I can only equate him to the old kind of blues singers from, stuff that like Elvis got into and stuff that kind of kick-started rock and roll. I think of like Howlin' Wolf, and I think of like that kind of vibe that he's bringing to the table. I honestly almost picked the song S.O.B. I think for people that know his catalog, that's probably the song that sticks out to most of us. I know that's the one that stuck out to me. That's why I wanted to see him when we saw him at Bonnaroo, I think in 2016. They all go together. I can't remember now, but especially after the last 2 years. But You Worry Me is a little bit of a different song style for the band, and for Nathaniel for that matter as well. It's a little bit more groovy. Like I kind of think of like a Hall & Oates bass line or something like that. I think I said that in one of the other videos for another artist as well. But it definitely has that vibe, but it definitely is Americana. It's definitely folky, but it still has that kind of 70s, I don't know. I think of like Austin City Limits bands that were playing that in the 70s and early 80s. But it definitely has that flair, but is modernized without sounding too modern, as weird as that sounds. But at any rate, seeing this artist at Bonnaroo previously, it was one that kind of blew my mind. They were in a pretty small tent. I think it was the other tent before the other was kind of like the EDM stage there. Very, very small. It's right by the Witch stage, which is the second biggest stage. And a lot of the artists that play that stage typically get drowned out by the artists that are playing Witch, the Witch stage, excuse me. That was not the case. They definitely cut through the noise, pun intended. Had a great response from the from the crowd, and it was just a packed house, super, super fun. It was right when the sun was going down, and I really hope that we have a similar setting to their performance this year. So excellent songwriter, excellent musicians, excellent musicianship with the band members that he has playing with him. Very, very excited. A little nod to Memphis, where I lived for a couple years of my life, somewhat recently. They are on Stax Records, which is super cool to see that kind of history being kind of pushed on to the next generation as well. So once again, the second song on our list is You Worry Me by Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. Next on our list is one of my favorite songs of all time. This would probably make the top 10 list if I had to put it together. This would beat out a lot of my favorite songs because this song is incredible. The song is Drugs by Rez. Now, this is a little bit of an older song. This came from her EP, The Silence is Deafening. I think it was a 5-song EP, 4 or 5 songs, but this song definitely stood out from the crowd. This was honestly the EP that led into Mass Manipulation, her record from 2017. Now, I picked this song specifically because the synth, when it comes into the drop of the song, is kind of like nothing I've ever heard before. It is very much, I can only equate this to like the syncopation of a rapper or someone singing over a hip hop beat, where it's right in the pocket. This definitely emulates that kind of tone or that sound or whatever. It does not sound like a synthesizer. It sounds like someone, like rapping the hook or rhyming over a beat. It is right in the pocket. It is perfect. I actually put this song up against several of her songs in that top 3. And this one just stood out like a sore thumb. I love this song. It is incredibly awesome to see live. When we saw her at Bonnaroo in 2017, I believe, 16, 17, it was the first year of the other stage at Bonnaroo. It used to be a tent, and they kind of expanded it to make it kind of the EDM stage where, we would actually go to the Bacardi area to the left of the stage. They have volleyball pits and a little sand area that you can kind of hang out in, get that, island vibe or whatever, and then watch the music kind of from the background, which is super, super fun, especially when it's hot out. You just want to have, hang out with friends and get a drink or whatever. But at any rate, seeing her play this the first time was incredible. I think that for that festival that year, she definitely was a standout to everyone that performed on there. I want to say that was the year that Marshmello played as well, which I've talked about in previous videos, which was also amazing. But just brought something new to the table. Kids were headbanging on the rail right up front. It looked like a rock show from watching Nirvana or Soundgarden or something back in the day. It was very, very reminiscent to that. So very, very cool. Now, Rez, if you're not familiar with her, crawl out from the rock that you've been living under, because she is one of the best artists in the game right now. But she got her start on Mousetrap, which is Deadmau5 label. And I don't know if she's still releasing under that label or not, but I definitely think that she could kind of hold her own now that she's kind of, got her bearings and been around for 5-6 years at this point. So very, very good artist. Seen her a couple times, saw her at Bonnaroo, of course, as I already mentioned, but saw her at the Shrine Auditorium in LA. We've been trying to see her at Red Rocks, which they call Res Rocks, for that weekend or that couple days that she does a run there. Have not done that yet, but from footage that I've seen from there and friends that I've talked to that have gone to Res Rocks, they said it's one of her best performances every time they go. So definitely looking forward to that. Maybe this coming up year, maybe this fall, if she does it again. It's typically September, October that she does it, but maybe if she does it, we'll go this year. Who knows? We'll see. Fingers crossed. But yeah, so that is my pick from Rez, and very excited to see her again. I actually have seen her play Drugs live at Bonnaroo. I'll include that right now. And very, very excited to see her play that again. So this song is Drugs by Rez. And next on our list is the song Chameleon by Herbie Hancock. This is a very, very long song. I believe it's 15, 16 minutes long, but it never ceases to amaze me how intricate each section of this song is, even when they go in and do several repeats, because you have to fill up that 15, 16 minutes with something, but still keep that same melody. They nail it, or he nails it. His players are amazing too, but I cannot wait to see this man live. He just turned, I believe, 82 years old in April. So I'm glad to see him before, God forbid, he's not around anymore, or I'm not around anymore. I mean, shit, we're all getting older, right? So very, very excited to see him live. Never seen him live. So this is going to be a treat for myself. If I get to hear Chameleon and Hang Up Your Hangups from Manchild, two of my favorite songs by this artist. If that song was on the top 3 on Apple Music, that would be in the list. Hang Up Your Hangups is one of my favorite songs, specifically by him, but definitely one of my favorite tracks as well. So very excited to see Herbie live. Not really sure what I'm in for. I don't know if he's just going to do like a long jam session or what that entails. So kind of going in with an open mind and kind of seeing where it takes us. So very, very excited to see him. And if we get to see those two songs live in any iteration, even if it's kind of like a free form, I'll consider that a win. So this track is Chameleon by Herbie Hancock. Our next track, I will admit that I was super late to the game with on this artist, but it is Cigarettes by Tosh Sultana. Now, when I say late to the game, I mean like when I was putting this list together late to the game. I knew the artist's name. I knew kind of her shtick. I knew what she was all about. I actually watched her briefly at Bonnaroo a few years ago. I want to say 2019, 2018, somewhere in there. But I just didn't really sit down and listen to her. I didn't really know her catalog that well. And since then, I've really kind of grown an appreciation for how she plays and how she puts together music. Her songwriting style and just how she performs live is fucking incredible. I also love her signature Fender Stratocaster, red and gold. Love it. Can't get over it. But no, her performance, especially when I was going through and watching some performances on YouTube to kind of put together some talking points for this video, I was honestly pleasantly surprised with how much she moves around on stage in terms of playing percussion instruments, playing her guitar, looping her guitar, and somehow managing to do that all in time and key. I mean, that is attributes to someone that knows what they're doing and someone that is deserving of the caliber of artistry she's bringing to the table. So I'm very excited to see that. I hope we can get kind of close for her because I do want to see kind of what she's doing and the mechanisms that she's using on stage to do all the looping and to get the sound that she's going for. But regardless, this is a super fun song. It starts off kind of jammy. Like I'm trying to think it's like a more electrified, kind of modernized Ani DeFranco. I mean, I know that fits the kind of the cookie cutter that she's trying to fit in that mold or whatever. But when it gets into the faster part, after I believe 2 verses, it goes into kind of this more like fusiony, jammy thing, which is super, super cool. I think that's going to translate to the farm for Bonnaroo. Really, really cool. I think that's going to be great. Sadly, I wish I would have given her more time previously because she wasn't as big of an artist as she is now because this is several years ago. I wish I would have given the due diligence and like taken time to actually take in what she was doing, because now several years later, especially as a guitar player myself, I can absolutely respect what she's doing for her craft and for the artistry that once again she's bringing to the stage. So very excited to see her. Definitely check out this whole record. This is probably my favorite song from that record, but once again, that is Cigarettes by Tosh Sultana. And next on our list, we have Heading South by Zach Bryan. Now, this song is on the list because I do think that this is one of the best songs by this artist and definitely for this day at Bonnaroo, or it wouldn't be on this list. But naively, I did not know that this was his song. I am not really into his vein of like country music, singer-songwriter stuff, whatever you want to call it. Definitely that southern not even Southern rock, but definitely Southern country, obviously, style that he brings to the table. Not really my cup of tea. I dabble, I dip the toe and test it from time to time, but it's just not anything that I grew up on. And I come from a rock world, I come from heavy metal, I come from more aggressive music, and I kind of missed the boat on some of these artists. Now, the reason I didn't know that this was Zach's song is because I thought it was a release from Trevor Keith from Face to Face, because Trevor does have a couple acoustic recordings. You know, he plays solo separate from Face to Face from time to time. We actually just saw him in El Segundo when he was playing the day before the Jawbreaker Face to Face and Linda's show at the Wiltern. I actually got to be pretty up close and personal with Trevor. I was literally one person behind him, and it was just him on his guitar and just singing. So it was very, very intimate, really cool, kind of like a body shop place in El Segundo. They do like hot rods and bikes and stuff like that. So it's definitely his kind of like greaser aesthetic, that 90s kind of greaser revival. But hearing this song played live with Trevor's playing and his vocal range, I was instantly hooked, but I didn't know it wasn't his song until I did a little bit more kind of deep diving and noticed that it was one of Zach's top songs. And according to Wikipedia and some of the other sources I've found on YouTube, this video for the song was recorded on his iPhone behind his Navy barracks when he was just kind of playing along and trying to record a song. And it's been around since 2017, but didn't really start getting traction till a couple of years later. So, like I said, I naively thought it was Trevor's song when he played it live. Literally just didn't find this out until very, very recently when I was putting this list together. So, old guys can be taught new tricks once again. But really, really good song, really good message, especially for someone that, I'm a Yankee, as the Southerners call me, but living in Tennessee for a few years, you realize that, political things aside, there is a lot of people that love music and want to play music like we did in the old days. We want to crank it up and just really, feel the music when you play live. And that is not something that is celebrated a lot of places. So the context of the song is, don't forget to, go down to the south. Don't stop heading south. Don't stop going south, because they're going to let you play your music real loud. Like, people do enjoy the artistry of music creation, even if they're on a different political side than you are. So don't let that get in the way of making good music and enjoying music with other people. So just try to take the bullshit out of the experience. So really good message, really good song. It's pretty much just him and a guitar, and it just sounds super full. He has a very, very interesting, very intricate singer-songwriter voice. Like I said, a little country, definitely has that drawl there, but it's not like, it's not like super, super thick to where you can't hear it, like Boomhauer voice. It is really, really good song, and I encourage everyone to listen to it. So once again, I'll stop rambling, but that is Heading South by Zach Bryan. And next on our list, we have When God Comes Back by All Them Witches. Now, if you've never seen this band live, bring headphones, or earplugs, excuse me. It's loud, especially in a festival setting. It's loud as fuck. Bring really good shoes, because you're going to want to kind of jump around and dance around and stuff. But definitely be ready for a great show. They don't move around a lot on stage. It's not like they're jumping around and getting crazy, but the sound of this band playing live is some of the best drumming I've seen / heard live, and the bass and just kind of like that I don't know, feel it in your chest vibe that you get at loud, really good deep bass rock shows. They bring it to the 10th power. I've actually seen them play When God Comes Back live at Bonnaroo, I believe 2016. I'll include that here momentarily. But when they get kind of cut into the song a little bit, it actually comes right after the part that says, "Cut me up primitive, I'll die like a slave, riding on the wings of that Jesus snake." After he says snake, it gets into this really bassy, kind of doomy sounding guitar part. That sounds like it should be in like a Yob song or something super, super like doomy, super funeral doom stuff. Or even like really early Black Sabbath, but like 2 octaves lower. Just resonates your rib cage. You can only explain it if you see it live. It is highly, highly recommended. This is a really fun song. It kind of, not a call and response song, but it's a the call, I guess, is the vocal, and the response is the guitar and the riff, because they usually kind of stop or play like very, very slow or very quiet for the different parts on the track. So typically call, lyric, stop, and then kind of cut back into the heavy stuff. So very, very fun. I'll include a clip of that happening right now. So you see what I mean. It's very, very, very fun live. Cannot wait to see this. I will definitely be filming this song live. Hopefully if my batteries and whatnot hold out for this performance. So very, very highly recommended. That song is When God Comes Back by All Them Witches. Next on our list is the song Amsterdam, specifically the acoustic version by the band Wild Rivers. Now, Wild Rivers should not be confused with Wild Rivers amusement park or water park in Irvine. Completely different. I don't even think that they pulled that name from there, being as they're from Ontario, Canada, so probably not related to that at all. But Wild Rivers is a really good indie band, folk band, whatever you want to call it. They're another one of those artists that, or another one of those groups that doing the folk thing, but not doing it to the point of nausea, like we've talked about, you know, Mumford and Sons, some of the other groups of that kind of revival that we had about 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. They do it a little bit cleanlier. You know, the songs are well written, very well crafted. They're just a three-piece. They have a lot that they're bringing to the table as a three-piece, which is pretty cool. And the acoustic version of Amsterdam, I love the song. It's definitely a breakup song. Essentially, we had all these hopes and dreams, and that's not going to happen because we're no longer together. There's actually a reference of breaking up over the phone, which is always fun. Let's talk about that. Yeah. But yeah, so really, really good, really good song. Very melancholy topic, obviously, but the studio version with full instrumentation of this song just doesn't hit the same. This is a little bit more raw. It's very, very stripped back, and the vocal parts I think shine a little bit better, and you can kind of hear the different parts a little bit better compared to the full song. So that is why I went with the acoustic version. That being said, Amsterdam, the full track, was not in the top 3, so I didn't want to cheat you guys and play by my own rules that I made up for these videos. So definitely a good song. Kind of excited to see them. They are definitely one of the smaller artists on the list, literally toward the very bottom of the lineup for this day. But I'm really excited to see what they bring to the table and kind of see what their live show is all about. So once again, that is Amsterdam Acoustic by Wild Rivers. And second to last on our list for today, we have the song IDK God by the artist Karuk. Now, Karuk is a little bit of a weird one for me. When you see pictures of her or pictures of her album cover, or even go to her website, you can tell that she is a very eclectic individual, I think is the right way to say it. Has very, very bright, flashy colors on everything from her album artwork. Her guitar is like seafoam green, looks super crazy, looks like a old surfer guitar from like the late 50s, early 60s. Her album cover is, the album is called Achoo, and it's got, you know, an animated version of her sneezing on the front. It is very, 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 very funny. Very good use of color and humor in her works. Her website, side note, is hilarious. If you go to her website, it is the old school IMAX, like the big kind of CRT IMAX from the early 2000s. And it is very reminiscent to late 90s, early 2000s artwork on there. So super fun, kind of pre-MySpace era. It has a vibe and it works really, really well. Now, I picked IDK God over her song Degree. Degree is kind of the big single from the album. It's essentially about her, you know, paying, a lot of money. She went to Berklee College of Music, which for those of you that don't know is incredibly expensive, like 35 or 40K a year. Not cheap. But, she jokes around that it's the most fun that she's ever had to pay for, or most expensive fun she's ever had. And she just went for the parties and not to actually get a degree. Now, that being said, she did get her degree, and she's an incredibly accomplished musician, really good songwritership. I actually would like to see what she majored in, because if it was songwriting or performance or something, she's definitely marking all those boxes. With IDK God, she just talks about some different things in the song, which I thought were a little bit more, they catered to this list a little bit better than the song for Degree, or the lyrics for Degree, excuse me. Just talking about how, she doesn't know why babies cry and doesn't know why dogs live a quarter of our lives, and just things that just should make sense don't make sense. And the answer is because we don't know God. Now, you all know that I am a very, very staunch atheist, but I think the idea of where she's coming from on this, it's open, full-hearted or open-hearted or whatever you want to call it. It's saying, hey, I'm cool with not knowing. I don't know God. It is really funny when, she gets into the chorus, when she says, I don't know God. If I ever meet her, I'll ask her why I'm here. I'll buy her a beer. Just wanting to know why our creator did certain things. Like, dinosaurs were a mistake. Eve was framed. Like, all these things that she puts into the lyrics of this song are really, really funny. And it's really cool to see her perspective on that topic. So very, very cool. The whole record is really good. The song I Don't Fuck With Snakes is hilarious. The video that she has in her performance space, she keeps putting them out every couple weeks or so, putting out a different single that she has recorded with her band. Highly recommended. When you get to see how she's playing this live, I can only imagine how cool this is going to be when that is turned up to 11 and we're on the farm and they get to crank that a little bit. So very excited to see her. But once again, that is IDK God by the artist Karuk. All right, gang, we have made it to the end. 40 songs later, this is the last song for our top 10 on day 4 and the last of all the top 10 lists. So without further ado, that song is going to be by the artist Hoko. It's Hoko, and that song is Okay Okay. Now, I picked this song because it is the most kind of rock dancey song of the artists that are playing on Sunday. When I heard it, I just could not get that hook out of my head. The chorus is okay, okay, okay. Oh, they say okay over and over and over again. But the kind of syncopation in the voice and how they go through the melody of the chorus is really, really hooky. Pun intended, I guess. They kind of remind me of like an OK Go. Almost the same exact name, which is hilarious, but where it has that super, super catchy, not super deep lyrics or lyrical content, but definitely gets kind of a worm in your ear and definitely gets stuck in your brain. So it seems pretty cool. They're actually coming from New York City. According to their management site, it says they are working on a full-length album with John Hill, who's produced, I'll just read the list here, it's produced with a ton of artists: Santa Gold, Cage the Elephant, Portugal the Man, Khalid. They're also working with Andrew Wells, who's worked with Halsey, Bjorns, and Kaiser Chiefs. So if you took kind of Halsey style and made it a little bit more poppy or a little bit more, radio friendly, like some of the Santa Golds or Cage the Elephant even, that definitely encapsulates their sound. I would highly recommend listening to the whole record. This song is definitely the standout from the rest of the songs, but the whole record's good. I listened to it probably 2 or 3 times putting this list together, just to see if they were, worthy of my list or whatnot, but really good tunes. I have nothing to complain about. I would highly recommend checking them out. Kind of excited to see what they're going to be bringing to the table post working with John Hill and Andrew Wells, because they have a lot of credits to their name. So very, very excited to see these guys live. It seems like they put on a pretty good show. I haven't seen too many shots of them on YouTube or performances that were recorded and whatnot, but I'll definitely be giving you some. So definitely stay tuned for that. But yeah, that is going to round out our list with our last song, Okay Okay by Hoko. Okay, everybody, that is our top 40 tracks of Bonnaroo. Now, as for mentioned in the previous little intro here, we do want to do a rundown of the top 10 songs, kind of take our top 40 and get it down to our top 10. Best songs of Bonnaroo, and if we're lucky and have enough time, because we are running out of time, Bonnaroo is right around the corner, I would like to pick our favorite song of Bonnaroo, period. So we'll tack that on the end of the top 10 list as well. Things that I did not cover in any of these videos is Jack Antonoff from Bleachers, who was on our list. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen that older episode. But he is actually in charge, quote unquote, of the Super Jam this year. Those of you that have not gone to Bonnaroo, they essentially get musicians from across the spectrum together. I believe it's on Saturday night, either Friday or Saturday night. But they get all these artists together and have kind of a theme that they run with. I've had tons of different artists on there over the years, but I know Sylvanesso was supposed to host one on 2020, which didn't happen. So we'll have to, shed a tear for Sylvanesso not being there for this one, but having Jack Antonoff being a key player in this, who knows who the hell is going to show up? I mean, shit, Taylor Swift could show up. We don't know. But yeah, so it is called Super Jam, Jack Antonoff's 1984. So I'm assuming it's going to be something 84 related, or just that same vibe, artist from that era. Who knows? I think that we are in for a treat for that one. Another thing I did not cover is some of the artists that are playing in the campground area several times by the looks of things throughout the weekend. The name that definitely popped out for me is an artist that I love and I've never seen live is Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band. They play like, washboards and jugs and kind of banjos and old beat up guitars and stuff. Definitely I think they're from Indiana, if I'm not mistaken, but definitely some hillbilly music if you want to see that live. They're supposed to play, I believe, 3 separate sets at different times in the campground, so that should be really fun. And then they have announced all the late nights, which should also be something that you take a look into. I'm not going to do a video about that, but I'll post that on the Instagram so we can kind of follow up on that. And last but certainly not least, we do have our schedule now. So our next video, I'm going to do one more Bonnaroo-centric video, and then we'll get back to normal content, probably post-festival, because we will be traveling. I have a dire fear of flying, especially after the pandemic and people being fucking crazy on airlines. So we're driving. We're driving to Memphis to see family, and then we're going to drive to Manchester outside of Nashville, Tennessee for Bonnaroo. So once again, if I see you there, please don't hesitate to say hello. Definitely want to get some pictures with people, get some coverage, buying a new camera for coverage for the festival, so that should be fun. And we will kind of circle back after that. But like I said, one more video with the schedule and kind of where we're going to be for the different shows, because there are some conflicts. I know for a fact that Rez and Stevie Nicks have a conflict, at least a little bit. So that's going to be like picking between your children that I don't have, but you know what I mean. So we'll go through the schedule in the next video, which will kind of be a short one. And then we'll be on the farm. So kind of right around the corner, about 2 weeks out, we're going to start traveling a week from Saturday. And then the festival is the following weekend. So if you're going to Bonnaroo, please leave a comment down in this in the comment field, and tell us what you're looking into, what different artists you're excited to see. Definitely hit subscribe if you want to see more of the schedule content and the different stuff that we're going to do post Bonnaroo. I'm sure there's going to be tons of footage to go through, so definitely be part of the community. And thumbs up, thumbs down appropriately as you see fit. Once again, as I say in all my videos, I do want to get real feedback from this, so don't just thumbs up because you think that's what I want to see. If you don't like the video, truly tell me how you feel about it. But that is going to cap us for this video, and we will see you in the next one, probably within the next couple days, just to get that schedule kind of finalized so we know where we're going, and you'll know where to find us when we're there. So thank you for going on this journey with me. This has been super fun. I have learned a lot about new artists and artists, maybe deeper catalog that I wasn't familiar with, and kind of opened my eyes to some of the new blood coming through the scene right now. So very, very excited. Thank you for joining me, and we will see you in the next episode of Old Guy Rock Show.